This is the National Report for Monday, January 11, 2021, and the headlines: nightly curfew remains in place but will now begin at 10 p.m. Details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Monday, January 11, 2021, I am Abigail McIntyre. The nightly curfew in Grenada will continue. However, it will now go into effect from 10 p.m. nightly. The curfew will continue to be lifted at 5 a.m. daily. The new time, agreed to on Monday during the weekly cabinet meeting, allows more time for business operations and recreational activities. However, government continues to encourage the population to follow the protocols, wash or sanitize hands frequently, maintain a physical distance, and wear a mask at all times in public spaces. Business owners and managers are also urged to ensure strict adherence to the COVID-19 protocols, which require them to maintain physical distance among patrons at their respective establishments, and also keeping a daily log, which will facilitate prompt and efficient contact tracing should that become necessary. In addition to the extended hours of movement, Cabinet has also approved an increase in the number of persons allowed to attend weddings, funerals, and social gatherings. The permitted number is now 20. For any number exceeding that, permission must be sought and granted. The public is also advised that the ban on all commercial flights between Grenada and the United Kingdom will remain in effect at least until January 31st, 2021. An hour of prayer on Monday morning ushered in the opening of schools for the Hilary term. The service, which was broadcast live on the Government Information Service, included a brief message by the Minister for Education, the Honorable Emmeline Pear, as well as scripture readings and musical renditions by students. Monday's devotional exercise was held under the theme, "When we rest on God's promises, we can let our faith be bigger than our fears." Minister Pear, who is also the Minister for Religious Affairs, encouraged the students to continue giving their best, even under the current circumstances.
To our students, I encourage you to stay focused. Stay strong and don't worry. I'm sure you heard the song by Bob Marley, "Don't Worry About a Thing," because every little thing is going to be all right. Many people have your back, and we are all working very hard on your behalf. Remember to keep your dreams in sharp focus and work hard, for God is with us as we fight this battle.
Reflecting on COVID-19 and the challenges presented, Minister Pear says the Ministry of Education and other stakeholders will be working to ensure that all students have access to quality education.
But COVID-19 must not stop us from advancing the agenda for the development of our education system. We must continue to work aggressively with all of our partners as we push ahead. Our focus would be on building a resilient education system that we can withstand any crisis that may be ahead of us. We will focus on equitable and sustainable development through strong leadership at all levels. Together, we will focus our efforts on addressing learning losses, preventing school dropouts, addressing education reform that focuses on offering skills for employability and support for the teaching profession to adapt to this new norm.
The Division of Youth Development has been examining its strategic direction for 2021. Focus is being placed on programs and projects undertaken by the division. Details in this report by Assistant Communications Officer June Paul.
Project officers within the Division of Youth Development met on Friday to strategically plan the way forward in executing the division's projects and programs for the year 2021. As part of the strategic planning process, the officers took the time to examine and analyze the main programs of the division, which are geared towards the holistic development of the youth. High on the agenda of the division for the year 2021 is the inclusion of persons who are physically challenged in most of the programs. Assistant Coordinator of Youth Development, Earl Williams, hinted that discussions are presently ongoing. By identifying the current strengths and weaknesses of the programs and projects, the process gave the officers an opportunity to revisit the mission, the vision, values and long-term goals of the projects and programs, as well as an opportunity to improve in the future. At the Division of Youth Development, strategic planning plays a pivotal role in the execution of its program's growth and successes because it allows policymakers and employees to respond to opportunities and challenges and make modification where necessary, having been faced with the onset of this pandemic. The division proudly boasts of its many successes for the past year, despite the unforeseen challenges of COVID-19. With great enthusiasm, Youth Coordinator Royden B. Harry is optimistic that the division's projects and programs will meet its targets, goals, and objectives set out in 2021 whilst engaging collaborative leadership. Reporting for the Division of Youth Development, I am June Paul.
Thank you, June. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Education is confident that once all the necessary protocols are followed, the return to school for the new term will be a smooth process. The ministry is utilizing the blended approach to learning, which caters for face-to-face interaction and online sessions. During an exclusive interview with the Government Information Service, Minister for Education, the Honorable Emmeline Pear, said there were many things to take into consideration for the full operation of schools.
Persons often question, why is it that the child cannot go to school every day? There's just one simple answer: the size of the classroom versus the number of students in the classroom. That's it. We never pass a rule or make a rule that says this child must come 1 day a week or that one must come 5 days a week. No, it's always to do with the 3 feet or the 6 feet physical distancing. That is what determines how many days a child would be able to go to school. So there are some schools where, regardless of 3 feet, 6 feet, even 12 feet, you'll be able to have every child in school every day. But because of the population of some schools, so large schools, Grenada Boys Secondary School, St. Andrew's Methodist School, because of the population of those schools, it would be significantly impossible for every child to be at school if there's a 6 feet physical distancing protocol in place.
The minister also spoke of plans that are in place from January 18th.
Our hope is that every child would have an opportunity to return observing the 6 feet physical distancing. But as I said, there are some schools where that would be impossible, and we are hoping that based on the COVID status, based on the situation, we will be able to one day very soon move back to the 3 feet. But of course, the challenges never end, because once you move to the 3 feet, then people get uncomfortable about their safety. And so we just have to continue to pray and trust God that this situation soon gets behind us.
National javelin coach Paul Phillip says the months ahead could be challenging for Grenadian javelin thrower Anderson Peters. Peters is a professional athlete, and there is a tentative calendar of events that could take him on the circuit in Europe and around the world. At the Central American and Caribbean Games in Colombia in 2018, Peters won gold with a distance of 81.80. Then in 2019, during the Pan American Games with a distance of 87.31, and in Doha 2019, winning the men's javelin with a distance of 86.89. While the COVID-19 pandemic has somewhat slowed his momentum after capturing the world title back in Doha in 2019, there is a structure in place to balance his final semester and competitions.
The first goal is to get back to throwing fitness. He hasn't thrown competitively for months, and well, it could be more than a year at that level. I mean, he did one or two little training meets here, but that is really insignificant, you know. So his first step is to try to get some competitions where he can get back up to the level of the 85, 87 meter throws that he has grown accustomed to. Once we're there, the next thing will be to start winning some competitions. So you start thinking about how it feels again to be winning. And these would lead into, while you'll be making some necessary funds, you know, because you made no money as a professional athlete in your whole first year.
Paul says while winning the Olympics is every athlete's dream, being a world champion creates a certain level of expectation. He says fans of the athlete should understand that achieving that goal is not an easy feat.
Being a world champion, the expectations from your country, for example, would be, yeah, he won the world championship, so he's definitely going to win the Olympics. It doesn't work that way. And we understand how javelin throwing is working in the world this year. For example, the athlete who was third at the world championships has moved up to second on the all-time list, just missing out on the world record. So he went up to 87.31, and the world record is 97.31, and the world record is 98.48. So it's a long way to get to the 90s. Anderson's best throw is 3 meters shy of the 90-meter mark.
The immediate goal is to get to the 90-meter mark and stay focused on winning a medal.
We're trying to get on the podium. We're trying to get over 90 meters. So far, our strength levels in the weight room has gone up. His speed has improved. His flexibility is where we want it. So now we taking from this month on to the Olympics the approach where we develop some more strength and power, speed and power. Sorry, because where we want his base strength, his general strength is where we want it. They have surpassed his pre-injured levels, so he's stronger in the main lifts than he was ahead of the World Championships, ahead of the Pan Am Championships last season.
And that story brings us to the end of the National Report for today, Monday, January 11, 2020. To recap the top story, nightly curfew remains in place but will now begin at 10 p.m. On behalf of the entire team here, I am Abigail McIntyre saying thank you for joining us.